4s. Man, my homeboy, he spent a lot of money on these, man, and he's pretty upset, man. So I'm doing a video. I'm gonna compare his versus mine, man. A lot of y'all know I'm giving my pair away on my Instagram. If you follow me and you see this video in time, Mr._Trouble, man, I'm gonna have it up for a week. It's with the MDA, man. We're gonna give a pair of off-whites away, authentic off-whites, not no fakes. But I mean, let's get into this review, man. I'm gonna make sure I go over every detail like I always do. See if you can distinguish the two, which one is real, which one is fake. Let's get into it. Let's do it. All right, man. Which ones y'all think, man? Let me know. Ones on the left or the ones on the right, man. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. See if y'all can figure it out. Got that good lighting outside to help y'all out. All right, man. So if you didn't guess it, man, ones on the left are real. Ones on the right are not authentic. We're going to get into it. I'm going to choose the right shoe from each side. I'm going to go over everything, though. Trust me. I'm going to go over everything. Authentic, not authentic. Let's get into it. Let's do it. All right, man, time to get into these boxes. You know me, detail for detail. You got the authentics on the left, the fake boxes on the right. We're going to get into a little detail in the print because I noticed a few different things. So we're going to zoom in. If you notice where the 200 is, like the font, like how it's printed out, these are, the suggested retail is a lot thinner than the 200, the USD 200. If you look on this, it's a lot more bold. The suggested retail is huge, and so is the USD 200 compared to the authentics. Let's see if I can get both of those so you can see both. But yeah, even from like a distance, you could tell how much bolder this is. And it's like really thin, like that'll probably rip off. This is a lot thicker and it doesn't move as easy, but it also rips off. That was about it. The only thing that I noticed on the box. For is the label, like that's the only distinguishing thing that I've seen between the two. The tops, man. So I'm gonna put the authentics right here at the bottom. But if you look from where the box ends to where the flight meets the end of the box, it's a lot smaller space on the fakes, which is this one. It's like this little thing from the flight to the end of the box is not that big of a gap, versus on the authentics, look how much it takes to get to the end of the box from the flight. So that's another thing that I noticed. I'm gonna put these back, switch these back. All right, so one thing I wanted to point out that I had noticed as soon as I got the shoes, mine actually came from Nike, but what's so crazy is it didn't come with this sticker that we see in like all the Nike boxes now. Like mine didn't come with it at all. Like it's nowhere in my box, not even on the top. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's one thing I usually, point out, but I mean, even the fakes, they got that too, so I wouldn't just go buy it. The paper, I ain't really noticed too much. On all the papers, the off-white, the fakes, they always scratch off easy. Like the logo always will scratch off, versus on here, it's set like that. That's how it's supposed to be. So other than that, no big difference. I'll point this out on the tops. I mean, like with the top here, it's like nice and clean, like where they glued the circle at. Like it's like a nice little glue circle, versus on the face it's kind of like just splattered on there, if you can see that. Like it's kind of just splattered on there like a big glue spot, versus this one is like nice and neat. All right, so I know y'all didn't come for the boxes. Let's get into the review over the shoes. You got the authentics at the top, the replicas are on the bottom. And man, the first thing that popped out to me was definitely the detail on the stitching. If you look at the detail on the replicas, they don't have as many punctured holes, and it's not as neat as it is on the authentics. It's a lot more holes, a lot more neater. You know what I'm saying? Even in between the cage area, it's just a little off. But I mean, that was the first thing that I noticed, man. The detail. All right, man, you got the authentics on the left, the fakes are on the right. And man, one thing I noticed, like a lot of guys that were making these videos, man, I always try to wait to see what they gonna do or what they point out and what I'll notice different. And a lot of things that I'm not seeing a lot of people point out is the print that's inside these cages. This is the authentic on the left and the replica on the right. If you look in between the cages, the pattern of the fabric is like totally different. Totally different. So I mean, you probably could notice that right off the bat. Like if you look on the inside of it and then you look on the inside of the replicas, two totally different things, two totally different materials. All right, and then another thing that I noticed, man, the detail on the stars that are in the front of the shoe. I mean, it's just like so uneven on the replicas versus on the authentics. So much more neat if you look at those. We're gonna get into the tongue. Man, I mean, just like looking at it, you could really tell like the difference between the two. Look how much wider the stitching is on the replicas versus on the authentics. Like you can tell like there's so many more stitching than it is here on the replicas. And then it's not even neat. Like it's kind of all messed up here. I mean, and then if you look at Nikes, it's on point. For the most part, I mean, they don't really have too many flaws like with Off-Whites. I know we see it on like a lot of like retail pair, but I mean, they don't really usually mess up on these. Not too much. You don't get too many complaints. All right, we're gonna get into the back of the shoe, man. The authentics on the left, replicas are on the right. I mean, and if you look at it, man, the authentics are just a lot slimmer. These are really wide. The replicas are really wide. It's a lot more clear here. It's a little more fuzzy here. You can't just see straight through it. I mean, and then this one is significantly higher than that one too. So, like I said, a lot slimmer. This part right here is a lot higher than that one is. I mean, it's a lot that you could just point out if you really like just pay attention to the detail of the shoe. Look at the side shot of it. And then, I mean, you hear on the left, like if this is authentic, just the stitching is just so much more neat. And it's so much more together. Here is like really wide. The stitching is really wide and spread apart. All right, man, still got the authentics on the left. The replicas are on the right. Took the insoles out and the inserts. Usually this Jordans come with, you know, your regular sneaker inserts. I have seen Off-Whites with this paper wrapped around it, but since it didn't come like this on this pair, I wouldn't trust it with another pair just because the replicas came this way. That's not how they usually come. I noticed on the authentic insole, there's a lot more ridges on the side of them than the fakes. It's not really no ridge at all. And let's look at you. And not too much of a difference. I mean, these are the authentics. These are the replicas. I mean, it's probably a little bit bolder, but I mean, you know, you probably ain't gonna notice nothing like that. Oh yeah, man, and I always get asked for this. The bottom of the insole, the authentics are on the left, the replicas are on the right. People always ask me about these lines. They are on the authentic pair. They are not on the replicas. All right, you got the authentics on the left, replicas on the right. And man, and just like the Off-White ones, the UNCs in that video, I always look at the underneath where you can pay attention to these lines. They always run parallel and they're always straight in the authentics. For some weird reason, in the fakes that I've been getting, they're always like running all over the place. So, I mean, that's one way to tell. I don't see that stitching in there, that dotted stitching either in the authentics. Get it to focus real quick. Like how it is in here. And it's kind of like that shoe's almost see-through at the bottom. You can't really see through. That's why I chose to do this in the sun. All right, so we're going to get into the bottom of the shoe. Your authentics are at the top. Your replicas are at the bottom. There's a lot more cream to the tops than it is to the bottom. If you pay attention to the Nike sign, they kind of, on the replicas, they kind of messed up a little bit with the paint versus on the authentics, it's like nice and neat. Also at the toe part, they messed up on the replicas at the bottom, like where the paint is chipping it right here. It's like paint all over the shoe versus on the Nike. Nike is nice and neat. But I mean, the Nike one is a lot darker at the bottom if you look at it in direct sunlight compared to the replica. All right, man. So we're gonna get into these laces real quick. I noticed some things on the laces, not just particularly the laces, but the bags. The bags on the replicas are like real flimsy, like real flimsy, like it'll rip. Versus on the authentics, it's real tough. Like it's a real tough, plastic bag, and they're a lot taller than the authentic compared to the authentics. The laces sometimes, man, they are like, I would go over these, but I mean, they're almost the same. It's really hard to spot fake laces, but your bags should be long and skinny and not short and wide. All right, man, we got the black light test. The authentics will be at the top. The replicas will be at the bottom. And the only reason I did this test, man, is because I noticed how much of a difference that these really glow and show up on the black light. Usually I don't do the black light test, but I probably will start now because that's crazy. I mean, if you look at the stitching on the inside of the cage where your midsole is, it just glows all around the stitching. It doesn't at all on the inside of the cage on the authentics. And then if you look at the front of your midsole where that stitching shows up real bright blue. On this one, it doesn't show at all, and that is the authentics. I mean, even the cage glows crazy. It shouldn't glow that bright. I mean, and this kid told me, man, he was like, he takes his black light everywhere. So I'll start adding these to the videos. I'm going to turn this shoe around and show you guys the back. All right, your authentics will appear on the left. Your replicas will appear on the right. And if you look, the replicas glow so much versus your authentics, which don't glow at all. And there you have it.